Hey, welcome to your July, early August 2025 market update. I'm going to do a little bit of statistics and then talk about an alarming number that has come up. And it's made a lot of really good agents, myself included, question if we are doing the right thing here in Santa Cruz County. All right, let's just get to the statistics right away because they will give you a local number, because if you're watching the national news, they throw out these big numbers and you go, that can't possibly be. For instance, I heard one this morning that said there's like 71,000 homes for sale on the market. And it's just like, how is that number even possible? I mean, we have 662, including condos and homes here. The number seems low. So what is that number really including? So I counsel you, if you're even looking in the Santa Cruz County area and Santa Barbara or any of these other areas, try to drill down on the local information and not become entangled in national news, because I think it's just going to lead you astray, especially when making an offer if you're a buyer and pricing if you're a seller. So we do have 662 homes on the market today: homes, condos, and townhomes. That doesn't include anything else. It doesn't include multifamily, mobile homes, or anything like that. Just 662. Is that normal? Well, I think it is headed towards a normal market, and we have had as low as 350 down to 300. So it's double what we've seen in the last couple years. So that's good, right? Well, if you're a seller, not so much. You have a lot of competition. And if you're a buyer, it may cause some trepidation, like, well, there's so many houses on the market. Maybe now it's not a good time to buy, because we all know that the market and how it trends can lead to confounding decisions like, well, should I? Maybe if there's so many on the market, maybe that means it's not a good time to buy. I would say buyers, run. Now is a good time. But that doesn't necessarily mean the area that you want to be in is on sale. I will tell you, the west side of Santa Cruz is still super hot. Homes over 2 million go within a few days. It is a thing. The west side of Santa Cruz is still extremely popular. I think it's just because it's a known area. It's what happens when people come over the hill on Highway 17 or down the coast, Highway 1. They kind of drop into the west side of Santa Cruz. They get to know this area quicker. They're more familiar with it. Schools are good. There's a lot of access to a lot of fun things. Mountain biking, surfing, and all that sort of stuff is kind of concentrated in our area. And it's still just very popular. Now, Pleasure Point on the east side, over in Live Oak, still Santa Cruz County, is also very popular. Again, close to surfing, great dining, all the fun things. So hyper-populated areas where there's a lot going on are still very, very popular. We're not seeing a huge decrease in prices there. For today, we have 59 new listings and 66 pending. That would be under contract, just new under contract, and then pending, which means all contingencies are released and they are getting ready to close. So we have 66 total there. And every day I look at the new listings number and I look at the contingent number, and they are always right on. So we're not really eating into the new inventory as much and changing that number, and we're not increasing it either. It seems like we're just keeping it straight up level. So next month's market report could just be probably around the 600, 630 inventory level, because they're just kind of passing on the night and keeping those levels just the same. Now, we have a list price right now of a home right on the ocean, Las Olas, which I do not care for, honestly, because it is on the sand, $6.9 million. And then our lowest is a little townhome on 7th Avenue, which is for 62 and up seniors, down to $240,000. So you can imagine how somebody looking in this area would be like, 240,000, I can grab that. Then they look into it and then they realize they don't qualify for that. And then you have this high end that makes it seem unaffordable. I mean, I think we have lots for everybody, but overall, I would think our prices here in Santa Cruz are considered high But there's a lot of great things here. So that does keep the prices high. But here's the most interesting number I will give you if you've stayed this long. 10 transactions have fallen through in the last 3 days. And if you've listened to my channel at all, you will know that I would tell you to watch the transactions falling through. That's where the buyer gets cold feet. That's where the buyer loses their job. That's where the buyer couldn't get a loan. Now, definitely, it's not because it doesn't appraise. We have seen homes appraise just fine. So appraisals really aren't the issue. And a lot of our disclosures, most of our listings, I would say 99.9% will have all the disclosures up for you to review. So it's not like you really learned anything about that property that caused you to pause. But I've been hearing some interesting stories about why buyers have been backing out. I heard one that a buyer backed out because their daughter had Lyme disease, which is that's a good concern, right? But this was in the area where there's a lot of ticks and kind of a drier area where they are, which is pretty well known before you write the offer. There's that. Then I just heard that the buyer, I don't know, something like the weather or something really crazy, buyer backed out. So the reason people get cold feet or they change, we will never really know. People don't always tell the truth. Here's another thing that buyers don't tell the truth about either, is when they come into a home and they tell you, listing agent, open house agent, something they don't like about the property, I will tell you that always translates into note equal sign, the price is too high and I wouldn't pay this for this home. But they're never going to say that. Because I always have sellers go, well, did they tell you the price was too high? They never say the price is too high. They politely say, I don't like a reverse floor plan. I don't like that there's a few stairs to get to the upstairs. I don't like, or this wouldn't work for me because. I even have a home for sale right now, which I swear I have not heard in my career before. This house is too big for me or our family. And it's like, wow, usually people want more space. So they're never going to tell you the exact reason they're not going to buy, and they're never really going to tell you if they think your house is too high. They're just not going to make offers. That's how we're going to learn about what they feel about the property right now. And then it's hard to say that it's even price. Maybe it's just not in the right area for that particular buyer. We just don't know. And we are all searching in the dark, just like, what is going on? And I mentioned maybe earlier that agents, we are all questioning our mode of business. Like, are we marketing it correctly? Are we talking to the right people? Are we holding it open enough? I mean, open houses are total crickets. So that industry-wide has been considered a bit of a misnomer of what's going on in the market, because we will talk to other agents and they'll be like, yeah, we didn't have anybody at the open house, but we had a buyer write an offer. I had a house open about 6 weeks ago. They had a bunch of buyers come through. Not one of the buyers that was at that open house wrote the offer, and actually will be closing it this morning. So open houses are not an indication. And that is part of the problem, as well as we are trying to glean as much information about the market from our activities as agents. We are having a hard time figuring out where the market's going, what we can do for our sellers to help them get the price they want and help them move on. Buyers, they're not really telling us what's going on for them. Are they worried about their job? Are they worried about the price? Are they worried about buying in Santa Cruz? All those things they're just kind of a mystery. So we're just kind of, like I said, we're just kind of blindly moving along. I think the best thing I could say about any listing agent like myself and my colleagues I've been talking to in the last week is just to keep going, to keep marketing, to keep getting the property out there, changing the pictures up, changing the listing information, making sure that we're doing everything that we can to just keep trying. Basically, not to give up. Now, the last point I want to make before I go is the Fed meeting this week on the 31st, which is Thursday, is expected to not have a price or an interest rate cut. And we have been hoping and hoping and hoping, and I think a lot of us have given up hope that there is going to be an interest rate cut, but that still won't possibly make the interest rates go down because they're tied to the treasuries and they are having quite a ride. So where are we at today? Buyer, if there is a home that you like and the numbers work for you, write an offer. This is your market. Sellers, hold tight, hold fast, know that things are going to move along, and buyers are still out there. There's still lots of activity. I mean, at the beginning of the video, I said 59 new listings and 66 pendings. And every day I see maybe 10 to 12 listings and I say 7 to 8 pendings. I mean, deals are still happening. Hang in there. Unfortunately, you will not meet anybody who's been in this market because every market is completely different. I don't care who that agent is. They'll all tell you that they've seen this market before. Nope, they haven't. They haven't, where the dollar has been devalued, tariffs are on the rise, and economic uncertainty is just juggernauting the whole market. But what we can tell you is that good agents, hold the ship, hold the line, and keep in there. And buyers, you got this, and sellers, you got this too. If you need anything, make a time to book with me. I have a Calendly link below if you want to just chat for a few minutes about the Santa Cruz County market. I'm just happy to give you anything that I know and tell you what's going on from my perspective. All right, that's it. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.